Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. The last video was a bit of a difficult one for me to record. I had to try a few times. So I thought I'd just do a quick-ish video where I just do something that doesn't require a whole lot of thought, which means book haul. And I do have quite a bit in the way of a book haul, some of which I justified by the fact that when I had hurt my knee earlier last month, I had to get one brace, then the knee brace didn't work. I got a different one, didn't like that one either. Ended up keeping a cheaper form that I picked up elsewhere, so I ended up returning the two braces. Well, Amazon had credited it to my Amazon account instead of returning it to my bank account, so I decided that meant books. Because, yes, I don't have a self-control problem. So most of these are medieval, so it does fit with quarter 2, but some of these are not. And I am going to kind of do them in the order of which they are easily accessible. So one of the ones I just got today is Word Hoard. And just the idea of it fascinated me. First of all, look at that cover. I mean, this is only a dust jacket. The inside cover is just a normal red, nothing to write home about. But the idea behind this is, let's see, it doesn't put it in an easy way right here in the back, so I'm just going to say basically what the Amazon page about it said, that this takes different Old English words and then says, gives you a bit of an etymology and all that jazz, but then it also talks a little about the daily life in that time period when so like early Middle Ages, gives you a bit of an idea of what daily life was, in particular related to that object. So, I'm just going to pick a place at random. So they have okay. So they have a word, it says gristan, probably saying it wrong. Doesn't look very familiar at first glance, but when G precedes Y in Old English, it is palatized or softened. So I guess that means gristan is actually pronounced yerstan, not far off from the yester of yesterday. So yerstan, I guess. For yesterday in Old English, you could say yerstan, dag yerstan, or the form most familiar to modern English speakers, yerstan dag. And it says morgen to morgen, to dag, to griste. I'm sorry, to yeast. I had it a couple seconds ago. Yes, yesterday. Or I said that wrong, but yeah. Aside to some minor changes in pronunciation and spelling, we've kept using these words for over a millennium. So that's just one section. They go into more detail, like when they deal with, they go farther into about the word day. I know that later on they talk about different foods and about what was available at the time. So it looks very fascinating. And I look forward to reading this, even if I will probably not be able to pronounce it by the time I'm done. The other one that I got today was what came in today. Monsters in the Anglo-Saxon World, Basilisk and Beowulf. So, again, another really cool dust jacket. Look at this guy being eaten. And I'm guessing that is a Grendel type creature, I'm guessing. But yeah, the idea of it sounded fun, and I'm not sure exactly the full, like what direction it's going to be going into. If it's going to be talking about where you could trace these different creatures from, or what exactly the direction they're taking in regards to the subject, but I just knew that I had to have it. I can't remember when I got this one, but this really interested me. Now, this definitely will not be one for this quarter, where the other two potentially could be. This is Tower, An Epic History of the Tower of London by Nigel Jones. So this is going to cover a large period of time. If I had wanted to, this could potentially be a multiple, it could have been like a quarter 1 through even 3 read, 1 through 3 quarter read, if I had planned ahead. Maybe not 1, probably 2 to 3. 1 is probably inaccurate. So 2 to 3 quarter read. So I guess if I wanted to, I could start it now. But I might just save this for next year. But I just think it's fascinating because there is a lot of history behind the Tower of London. I know that it's been used as a zoo. I know it's been used as a treasury. I know it's been used as a jail. But for a book this thick, there has to be so much rich history going on that I'm just simply not aware. Oh, I also know that it's been used for royal residences, certain portions of it. So there's that one. I did not anticipate getting this one, but I found this interesting. I do like the author. I want to see what the undercover looks like. Okay, just a normal cover. So this is by Tracy Borman, and it's, well, I still have the tag on it, but Elizabeth's Women, Friends, Rivals, and Foes Who Shaped the Virgin Queen. And that just sounded interesting. It has the uneven pages that I love so much. And it does seem like from the little bit that I read that that Tracy's going to try to be fair. Like, and what I mean by that is sometimes when people will focus on Elizabeth, but when people focus on Elizabeth, her half sister Mary won't be as well dealt with, won't be treated as fairly. So from the little bit that I read, it sounds like they are going to. She is at least going to try to be try a little bit to be fair to Mary. So I do look forward to reading this, but that will be next quarter. What else have I? Oh, one of them, I don't think I had a chance to show you this last time because it's new. I showed it on Instagram. Don't fall all over the place. I have this pile of books that just it's like it's a disaster waiting to happen. Okay, so I started this. I haven't gotten very far. This is A Famine of Horses. This was a recommendation by Janelle from Too Fond of Books. It just sounded really good. It's set in Elizabethan England. So I even though it's set in Elizabethan England, I am going to read this historical fiction whenever I feel like it. The main character is a certain Sir Robert Carey, who was possibly, very likely, a cousin of Elizabeth, the Queen Elizabeth, Virgin Queen, because I think it was his father was potentially, let's see, how does it go? His father potentially was the result of a union between Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn's older sister. I think her name was Mary as well. So, yes, so there could have well been a family connection twice over. So already the Boleyn relationship, so already cousins once over. They could also have been potentially cousins twice over. But yeah, this is a whole series. It's based on this particular person. It sounds like he had a bit of a swashbuckling life I think it's on the Welsh border. I haven't gotten very far along. It probably is the Welsh border. And let me just pull up, because I did receive, not that. I know I received one of the other ones in the series. think this is the only other one I've received so far. Yeah. So most of the books in the series I did get as omnibuses, omnibuy, but the first 3, because I already had this one, I got them singly. Now, of course, this ended up being the third one in the series instead of the second one, but the third one in the series is A Surfeit of Guns, and these are all written, I believe I said, in the 90s. You can't, at least I wasn't able to find these on Kindle. As far as I know, these are only available physically. So, 2 of the books in the series. I have other ones slowly trickling in. Let me put this over here, because that's just going to be a dangerous mess if I put it on that side. I might be poking off camera for a second. Now, what's next? Oh, some of this is actually not purchased. Some of this was stuff that my mom was getting rid of. When she first started writing, she picked up a ton of books that she didn't end up using a whole lot. And since she has a particular focus on writing fantasy, particularly a medieval style fantasy, she picked up a lot of books on normal medieval life, just different aspects of that. Well, it so happened that she mentioned that she was getting rid of some books that were related on that. I was like, oh, well, let me see them. I've been reading quite a few of them. And she showed me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I actually have one of this particular duo of authors. I have one of their books coming. It's a husband-wife duo. I believe they also wrote, I think it was over the 70s, maybe even into the 90s. But I have one of theirs coming in that she did not already have, but I will pretty much have the whole series by the time the other books come in. But these are the ones my mom already had. Life in the Medieval City, Life in the Medieval Castle, and Marriage and Family in the Middle Ages. So these were awesome. I didn't have to purchase enhancements, and I had all of these on my wish list, so it was really exciting to know that we had them. Now, even though she was getting rid of them, she has still claimed partial ownership of them, even though I'm keeping them. But she is happy that I have saved them for her because she was getting rid of them. Let's see, next one to show. Oh, I guess I will go with this one. This one is Daughters of Chivalry, and this is a Kelsey Wilson Lee book. This will be a first one of hers that I read. I'm assuming that, I think Kelsey is a, yeah, it is a she. Okay, because I think Kelsey can be a guy's name too, although I've never seen it spelled with a C instead of an S. Anyhow, this is Daughters of Chivalry, Forgotten Princesses of King Edward Longshanks. So that definitely fits in this period of time. Ooh, and I love pictures. I love pretty pictures. I was highly disappointed when I was flipping through my book on 1066 and the Bayeux Tapestry, and all the pictures were in black and white. And then you have this lovely book that has all these lovely colored pictures, and it's like, I think someone missed the boat with my 1066 book. But yes, I am looking forward to reading this, whether this quarter or the next. I have a lot of books on medieval history, specifically medieval English history, and I don't know why I felt the need that, well, I know why. I love this period, so I tend to pick up all the things on this period. So I definitely will not be getting through all my TBR for this quarter. Well, that's okay. There will be future Historathons. Okay, so this was more of a, let me see what the price is for this. And it actually ended up being a good price. I get most books used because I like getting my bang for my buck, and as long as they're good quality. So I ended up picking up Les Miserables. Oh, sorry, when Mom looked it up online, it's Les Miserables is how it's actually pronounced. So, Les Miserables. I can't do the French guttural noise thing. I have a tendency to go for more of a Spanish. But anyway. So, Les Miserables. Les Miserables, excuse me. I loved this book in high school, but I read the abridged version. I read that book so much. I had a little paperback version that, if I remember correctly, I just tore up the cover to that. It was probably used when I got it anyway, but I have never read the unabridged version. And I actually didn't know that I had a ribbon with it until it came in. And I've always kind of wanted to read the unabridged. Besides loving the book, I had fallen in love with the musical. Not so much the live, like the movie. I have serious beef with some of the singing talent they chose. Bad choice for Javert. Never should have been playing Javert. Man cannot sing. Javert has the best singing parts in the whole musical. Anyway, if my favorite Les Mis cast is the 10th anniversary cast where you have Lea Salogna as not Cosette, Eponine. So, but that's neither here nor there. I have been very fond of this story in multiple forms for quite a while, so it's about time that I read the unabridged version. And I kind of feel like, and I'll probably do this in quarter 4, just to pretend I'm keeping with the theme. I think I will read this simultaneously with A Tale of Two Cities. This whole book is not A Tale of Two Cities. This is an omnibus. I have Oliver Twist, A Tale of Two Cities, Great Expectations, and A Christmas Carol. All the Dickens ones I happen to care about. Although I've only read 2 of them in ones that are not like illustrated classics. The kids' books. So I've been meaning to read all of these in, adult form at some point. But I think that either I will read simultaneously Tale of Two Cities or Les Miserables, or what I like to do, and I do this with the musicals for these, for this as well. Not so much, this doesn't have a musical, but I tend to think of this book, Les Miserables, Tale of Two Cities, and The Scarlet Pimpernel, all in kind of as being connected. And the way I've always thought of it as is that you have the Scarlet Pimpernel, which is very much focused on the point of view of the nobility, particularly the English point of view, but nobility in general. Those are your heroes of the story, the rabble, the revolutionaries. Those are your obvious villains. Then you have Les Miserables, and it's been a little while since I've read it, but as I recall, and I know a lot of my recall is affected by the musical, but this is a lead-in into the French Revolution. You have the students who are rioting. You have a picture that is painted of the France that was on the brink of the French Revolution. And it's a very sympathetic view towards those people who are suffering and who were ripe for revolting. The kind of point where, you steal a loaf of bread and you're put away for 20 years. I think it was 20 years that Jean was put away. But yes, this is the other side of the coin from the Scarlet Pimpernel. And I always think of A Tale of Two Cities, which also has a musical, if, most people aren't necessarily aware of it. No, wait, Tale Two Cities does have a musical. Tale Two Cities has a musical, Scarlet Pimpernel has a musical, and Les Miserables has a musical. All three of them. I've enjoyed all three of them, varying degrees of quality, probably with Les Miserables being the best one. Although, you did have Terrence Mann singing, the part for the main bad guy. I can't remember his name. Begins with a CH. But he sang that part, and that's a man who can sing. So, anyhow, distraction. Tale Two Cities, I kind of feel is like the in-between point with, Scarlet Pimpernel, Nobility, Les Miserables, the poor average person. Tale Two Cities shows both, actually I would say shows the good and the bad of both. It's been, again, a very long time since I read it all the way through. But you see what drove people to revolt, but then you also are shown how it got to the point where you see the viciousness that you hear about afterwards in the French Revolution. And Dickens does cover that. I mean, you have Madame Defarge with her knitting and, all these other different things that I feel like A Tale Two Cities is a more rounded view. Now, if you wanted to get all the camera angles I always talk about in a fictional form, read all three of these books, and that's what I do intend to do, even if it's one after another, just because I like the way they kind of fit together. Although I would probably read it, what order would I do? I would probably do Les Miserables. I don't really want to do Tale Two Cities next. I want to save that one for last, kind of tie it all together. So I might say Les Miserables, Scarlet Pimpernel, and then Tale Two Cities. Scarlet Pimpernel's so short anyway. Now, time-wise, Scarlet Pimpernel probably fits better at the end, but I kind of feel like I would like the more full view to end with. So yeah, that's... Let me put Dickens away before my other books fall down because he's not there. There we go. So that is Les Miserables. And actually, will that fit on this shelf? Oh, it will actually stand up. I just want to put this, I'm afraid of this book getting damaged because the pages are a bit delicate. Okay, it does have to be on the side. Okay. And I don't want it to get hurt. There we go. Alrighty. Now, this leads into the Tolkien books thus far, because I am building up my collection of the Legendarium. Okay, so let's see. Before I do these, I feel like this relates to one of the earlier ones I showed. I decided that if I'm going to give Beowulf a try again, I need to read J.R.R. Tolkien's Beowulf with his translation and his commentary. So I always have understood this to be one of his favorites. And it came back into my mind. I've been listening to Mark Morris's book on the Anglo-Saxons, and he actually was talking about the Ring Lords and about the Great Halls, and the entire time he's talking, I'm thinking, man, this sounds so Tolkien, this sounds so Middle-earth. And then, lo and behold, he said, if this sounds familiar to you, this is because, sorry, this book is annoying me, there we go. This is because it's what influenced Tolkien, and you can tell he goes on and he talks about Tolkien for a while, and he references Tolkien's love of Beowulf. And I'm like, I don't know why I don't have this book already. And at first I thought I did, but what I actually happen to have is a small, like, mass market paperback version of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, which I can't believe I haven't read Tolkien's translation of that yet. So that has moved over by all my Tolkien books so that I can eventually read that. But yes, I kind of would like to read Beowulf this quarter, but if I don't, I mean, it's not going anywhere. I will be reading this. Just keep an eye on the time. Okay. Then the next one is J.R.R. Tolkien, The Treason of Isengard. So this is part of the History of the Lord of the Rings series that Christopher Tolkien put together. And I want to say that it's a huge series. I forget how many parts there is to it. And this is mostly including, like, notes that Tolkien would have had on it. It's possible. It looks like maybe there are some things that he didn't end up putting in the final draft. Those kind of things. So, The Treason of Isengard, I'm interested in seeing what each one of these parts have. Oh, looks like there's a map in there. Tolkien did love his maps. Then the other one is The War of the Rings, so it accompanies the first one. Yeah, and some of this I don't necessarily recognize, because these would have been other workings of the final version. So this will be interesting. I'm sure there's more to it than that even. And then finally, this one I've been wanting to get for a while because there's some stories that are in the Lost Tales that I want to read, but there's also some stories in the Unfinished Tales I've been wanting to read. So, of course, I wanted to pick up the one with the illustrations by Alan Lee, but it also has illustrations by John Howe and Ted Naismith. So, it has, which would be interesting, the history of Galadriel and Celeborn. Ooh, look at that. And that is, I always forget his name. Ulmo. Behind here. I kind of feel like this would be, if you were watching a movie, you would have, like, this part here being the main part of the screen, and you would have, like, sort of superimposed, like, a transparent picture of Ulmo right here. That's kind of the feeling I get with this picture, painting, whatever that is. You have a tour and is coming to Gondolin. Ooh, this looks like some stuff with dragons. Hurin, that's always an uplifting story. Look at this. This must be Gondolin. I'm not sure because I haven't actually read it. Or, isn't that pretty? Well, it looks like they're talking about the Númenóreans, so that's probably actually Númenor. Oh, I love these paintings. Pictures, whatever they are. It runs through the list of the Númenórean rulers. Again, the history of Celeborn and Galadriel. Disaster Gladden Fields. Cirion and Errol. The Quest of Erebor. So there's a bunch of different things in here that are unfinished. And in the introduction, Christopher says there's different levels unfinished. Things that literally just stop because Tolkien never finished it. Or things that he just decided not to go with that version of events. So yeah, that is actually all of the the book haul that I have here. I have been, really quickly to go over what I've actually been reading, you could see by the bookmark I'd shown that I had already started a little bit of what's not that book? A Famine of Horses, but I haven't gotten very far in that. I have, however, first of all, been very fond of my Complete Tolkien Companion, because every time I forget a name, I just go back to this. But that does tell you then that I have been reading my Silmarillion. And I have finally We have the Cimmerals made. We have had what happens, we have had Morgoth cause issues in regards to said Cimmerals, and we have just had very brief mention of Luthien Tenovial. So, very excited. I have been looking forward to the Baron and Luthien story for so long. I'm not quite there yet, but she has been mentioned. So, I'm really excited. I'm not anywhere near, well, I've made some good progress, but yes, I'm happy with that. I have been enjoying that. What's the other thing? I haven't read a lot of Shannara, mostly because I've been focused on Silmarillion, but I did read a little bit of it. They got past. There's a separation of forces right now. I don't want to give too much away. Now, the books that are for the Historathon, I had to sit down and pick and choose which ones I was going to focus on. And I ended up deciding, because I have to choose books and finish them before I allow myself to go further. So I ended up picking The Anglo-Saxons by Mark Morris on audiobook. And I actually have several Mark Morris books on audiobook. Surprisingly, quite a few of them were free with an Audible membership. I didn't need to spend a credit. I just could download it. So I have a feeling I will be listening to quite a bit of Mark Morris this quarter, which is great. I've been really enjoying the Anglo-Saxon, the book on the Anglo-Saxons. My only regret is that I get really confused with the names, and I kind of wish that I had that particular book either in Kindle. I might have it in Kindle form, but that's one where I probably should be looking at it, because I get mixed up with all the Angle this and Affle that, and they all seem to have like an A something name, and it's all like Wing and Wade. I don't know. Their names all sound the same. And heaven forbid if they reuse a name. Thankfully, I just finished the section with King, not Albert. My brain is not working. Why isn't my brain not working? He did the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. What is wrong with my brain? I'm gonna pull it up and be like, duh. Because I know this, but I literally just listened to it. It is not being helpful. It is Alfred. Okay. But I think I said Albert before, so Alfred. So I have finally reached Alfred. Actually, I think he's finally passed in the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, so we are definitely marching our way forward through time. There's a lot of mention of Bede in that, which is great. I have started Bede. Bede is showing his bias towards Ireland because he has claimed that, let's see, this is actually really funny. Where is it? That's Diocletian. Here it is. So in his first chapter, he claims that in Ireland, no reptile is found there, nor could a serpent survive, for although serpents have often been brought from Britain, as soon as the ship approaches land, they are affected by the scent of the air and quickly perish. In fact, almost everything that the island produces is efficacious against poison. For instance, we have seen how, in the case of people suffering from snakebite, the leaves of the manuscripts from Ireland were scraped, and the scrapings put in water and given to the sufferer to drink. These scrapings at once absorbed the whole violence of the spreading poison and assuaged the swelling. The island abounds in milk and honey, nor does it lack vines fish, and birds. It is also noted for the hunting of stags and roe deer. And I just like, it abounds in milk and honey. I think that the chosen people went to the wrong place. Apparently they were supposed to go to Ireland. But I had to laugh. He went a little bit crazy about his enjoyment of Ireland. I actually had to go and check and make sure he wasn't Irish. But as far as I can tell, he wasn't. But I think he had a lot of influence from the Irish monastics who were like at Lindisfarne and who had influence over his specific monastery. So I'm thinking that's where a bit of his effusiveness comes from. But I do look forward to reading more Bede. He has an enjoyable style. And I've been he's a historian of the era. What is there not for me to like? And he is a highly acclaimed one. Everyone quotes Bede. So I should have read him a long time ago. Not very far along in the Book of Kells so far. It's just a commentary accompanying the artwork. Honestly, this shouldn't be taking this long because there's not a lot of pages. I just haven't focused on it. And then the last book. And then I need to be saying goodnight because I need to head to bed. But Queen Emma and the Vikings by Harriet O'Brien. Now, I'm keeping an eye on this because this one also appears to, and I haven't gotten far enough along to see if this is going to be a trend past the first 2 chapters, but it appears to do the same thing that I disliked so much in the book about Akhenaten and Nefertiti as being gods on earth, where the beginning of each chapter started with like a little fiction piece to kind of set the stage. Now, the one so far, the one that I read at the beginning, has not bothered me quite as much as the other. Part of that probably has something to do with the fact that I really didn't like the authors of the book on Akhenaten and Nefertiti. There were multiple reasons why I didn't like them. But we'll see if this device annoys me as this book continues. I hope not, because this is a book that I am interested in. But yeah, we shall see. I did not know that this was a semi-commonly used way of writing history books. I mean, I've been reading history for a while, but I haven't run into this before this year. Now I've hit 2 books with the same device, so I don't know if it's a newer thing. Can't say I'm fond of it, but this book appears to do it better than the one on ancient Egypt. Anyhow, that is it for me tonight. I will let this video begin to kind of start loading itself, syncing itself, whatever it needs to do, and put it up to when I wake up. So thank you very much for joining me. Hope that this book haul / quick TBR for the quarter, or what I'm currently reading for the quarter, was a little bit lighter, a little bit more fun than the previous video. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me, and you have a very blessed day. God bless.